Hey, what's up everybody? I'm making actually this is my second take on this video. I tried to do it once and it turned out terrible. So I'm coming out in the sun. I'm doing this economic ninja style. So this is take 2. Give me a like for the effort. I appreciate that. But today's video, what I want to talk about is how to avoid poverty. Now, what is poverty? There's 3 conditions concerning money. Being broke, which is short term, being poor, which is a little long term, maybe you've got some unemployment issues, then being in poverty is long term, and think more lifestyle, right? So I want you to avoid poverty, and we always say on these channels, like, oh, I'm not a financial advisor, this isn't financial advice. This is financial advice. I am giving you advice. This is advice I'd give my children. This is advice I'm happy to give any of you because it makes sense, all right? Before I go any further, let me say I've been broke and I've been poor, but because I've followed these principles, I've managed to avoid poverty. So step number one I'm gonna tell you is plan long term. You have to have long-term thinking to avoid poverty. Now, for some kids, for some people, that starts in elementary school, high school. Some people know at a very young age what they want to be, and they order their lives around that. But if you're like me, you didn't know what you were going to be when you grew up, even when you were graduating high school. So as a last-ditch effort myself, I went in the Army and I got a trade. I would learn to be a diesel mechanic because I thought it would be a life skill to have. And it's kind of worked out for me my whole life in that way. A lot of people are going to lie to you and say, hey, life is short, live fast, die young. Life is long. Life is very long, and it's getting longer as medical things improve. So plan for the long term. If you're 18 years old, if you save just $200 a month and invest it in growth stock mutual funds, for example, from the age 18 to 25, and you never invest another nickel your whole life, you will be a millionaire by the time you retire. That's how powerful compound interest is. And you have to plan for that. So plan long term. Number 2, stay in school. Stay in school. I hated school. I was a terrible student. I graduated 42nd out of 49 in my class, all right? So I am not, I was far from the valedictorian's podium. But staying in school, only 3.8% of students, or only 3.8% of people with a diploma, with a high school diploma, are poor or are impoverished long term, versus 14.2% without a diploma end up in long-term poverty. And if you have just some college, and I apologize for the wind noise if there is any, only 1.2% of people with some college experience poverty. So stay in school. Number 2, get married and don't have kids until you are married. This poverty is a plague among single mothers. Single moms suffer the worst in poverty. So here's why marriage is important, you guys. 1.7% of married couples live in poverty, versus married men, on the other hand, married men tend to earn 22% more than bachelors. Single with no kids, only 7.9% of people who are single with no kids experience poverty. So get married and don't have kids until you are married. Number 4, stay married. Stay married. This, guys, the whole MGTOW movement, the whole, there's red pills and blue pills in every community, right? But in the men's rights forums or whatever, there are people who speak out against marriage, and the number one argument against marriage for men is divorce, because divorce tends to disproportionately affect men. So stay married. You have to engage in your marriage. You have to constantly continue dating, right? But if you're a divorced man, you know your expenses double because now you have 2 households to pay for, maybe 2 daycares if you're splitting custody. And divorced women tend to work less hours because they tend to have the primary custody of the children from the divorce. So get married, stay married. Now this next one is going to seem pretty obvious here. This is number 5. Number 5, work any kind of job and be the hardest worker in the room. Work hard. Listen, guys, again, this is a really important for single parents, for single moms, right? 80% of unemployed single moms live in poverty. 60% of single moms who work part-time live in poverty. And 18% who work full-time live in poverty. Okay? So that is a giant gap between working full-time and being unemployed, even working part-time. So, and look, you got to get your side hustle on. Drive for Uber or Lyft, deliver pizzas, sell on eBay, Amazon FBA, go to garage sales and resell stuff on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. It doesn't have to be complicated, but you need as many forms of income as you can have to avoid long-term poverty. Number 6, have successful friends. You are the average of the 5 people you most commonly hang around with. So if you hang around a bunch of losers, guess what? You're a loser. All right? So my goal in choosing my friends and selecting the people I spend time with, I want to spend time with people where I am the dumbest person in the room so that I can learn stuff and gain knowledge and improve myself, right? So have successful friends. Why scratch with the turkeys when you can be soaring with the eagles, y'all? Okay, number 7. This is probably going to seem pretty obvious, but don't be a crook. Don't screw people over. In fact, do the opposite. Make it your mission, your goal in life, to improve the lives of others. And when you do that, you improve your value to others, which may lead to improving your net worth, improving the amount of money that you take in. I'm in sales. My life is all about this. I can't screw people over because I have to think long term. I don't want one-time customers. I want lifelong customers. And I'm not going to get lifelong customers screwing people over, right? I have got to think long term, and I want you to think long term, all right? Don't be a crook. So let's recap here. How to avoid poverty. Number 1, plan for the long term. Long-term goal setting, guys. Number 2, stay in school. Stay in school and even get some college. Number 3, get married and don't have kids until you are married. And guys, if there is one thing, the most vital thing on this list is to avoid having children before marriage. That is almost always the number 1 determiner of long-term poverty. Number 4 rather, once you're married, stay married. Avoid divorce at all costs. Number 5, work any kind of job and be the hardest worker in the room. Number 6, surround yourself with successful people, have successful friends. And finally, guys, don't be a crook, don't screw people over, and you will avoid long-term poverty if you follow these steps. So that's all I got, guys. Like, subscribe, share, and like the Economic Ninja, I guess, I am out.